Welcome to this Adobe Photoshop training session, and this is introducing Auto Align Layers feature. Firstly, I'm going to go to the File menu and I'm going to choose Scripts and then go to Load Files into Stack. Now, this allows me to open up multiple images at the same time and compose them into multiple layers, all within one image. So I'm just going to browse to my hard disk, go to the tutorial files, and then holding down the Shift key, I'm selecting the Grand Prix 1 and 2 images. Click OK to open those, and you'll see it's opened up both images, but not as two independent images. As I said, it opens them up as one image, and if I click onto the little layers palette here, you can see that it's put them onto two independent layers. Now, if I hold down the Shift key, I can then select both layers, and then going to the Edit menu, I can say Auto Align Layers. I'm just going to go for a standard automatic alignment. I'm not going to change that perspective or anything else, and then click OK. Now, the feature of this, it allows you to take several shots of the same thing and to be able to, using a mask, which I'll come on to in a minute, is to then be able to paint in and out independent parts of the automatically aligned images. Here what we've got is a picture that my wife took a couple of weeks ago at the Monaco Grand Prix. So she was leaning over a balcony, and of course the cars at this stage are probably shooting past at about 150 miles an hour or so. So she took several of these shots, and I've chosen two of the better ones. If I switch off this top image, you'll see that in this one there is a car going past, albeit very blurry because of the speed of the vehicle as it goes past. And if I click back again, we can then see the difference between it. Notice how Photoshop has done such a great job of aligning. Look at the plant here, and the plant and the tree and the lines in the road. It's really aligned these two images quite perfectly. We can also see over here that there is a cameraman walking past, whereas he isn't there in that image. What I want to do in this image is I want to correct some of the positions of people's heads in the image. If I reinstate the top image again, you'll see that this man down here is looking to the right. However, the car is obviously going to be passing over here. And this man down here is looking to the left. So they're both looking in completely the wrong direction. Whereas if I look at the underneath image that includes the car, they're both looking in the right direction. However, the woman in the top image here is looking over this way, whereas in the underneath image she's actually looking where I want her to look. But also this man down here seems to be completely distracted by something else going on, whereas in the top image he is looking in the direction I roughly want him to look into. Now I'm going to just click here to deselect both layers, and then reselecting the top layer I'm going to then add a layer mask onto that. If I then take my brush, I've got black as my foreground colour, and I've gone for a soft-edged brush. I haven't gone for one of these hard-edged brushes, and with full opacity of paint, so it paints back solidly, I can now choose to paint in and out through to the underneath aligned layer. First off, I'm going to try painting over here. So if I paint over her there, you'll see that it then looks through to the layer underneath, and it then brings through the part of her that I want looking in the right direction. Next, this man here, who's currently looking to the left, obviously saw the same exciting thing as him, so I'm going to then paint over him. Look at that, how clever that is, and that's now painted him in looking in the right direction. This man over here, again paint over the top of him, so all I'm doing is I'm punching a hole through the top image to reveal the automatically aligned image underneath. You can then try going around, it's actually quite good fun this, you can try going around and seeing what else you can paint. If you don't like what you've painted in, then you can press this little thing here, or I tend to use X, pressing X on the keyboard, which is a good shortcut, is that using white is that I can paint back in the original way that she's looking. In fact, I'm going to go back to black because she does look slightly better looking in that direction. Don't worry about any mistakes that you might make around the edge, because we can get rid of those with a crop afterwards. Lastly, this man here, if I paint over him there, you can see he is looking in the wrong direction. Press X to go back to white again, and then I can just paint him back in again, so he is looking in the right direction. Now the photographer over here, if I then paint black over the top of him, I can just make him disappear out of the image, because remember, he only exists on the top image and not on the bottom image. Lastly, I need to have the car back into the image, because I'm using the top one as the main composition. So if I now just click and paint over here with black, I can then just paint the car back in, and there we go. As I've painted the car back in, I've painted this woman in who seems to be taking a picture of this man here who is looking in the right direction. So I'm going to go back to white and then just very neatly paint over her to bring her back. So she actually looks as if she's taking a photograph up towards the balcony now. So a really nice feature. It allows you to take multiple shots. Photoshop can align them together, and then you can paint various bits and pieces in and out. Now I'm just going to dismiss my layers there, and then pressing Apple and minus or Control and minus on Windows. I'm just going to zoom out a bit, and then finally finish off this piece of work with a bit of a crop over it, just so I can crop in nice and tight on those parts of the image. Hit the return key, and that there is my composed image.